All right, so hello and welcome, my dear friends, to oliveboard. My name is Veer Pratap Singh, and today, my dear friends, we shall be discussing on the particular topic of soils and natural vegetation. Here, my dear friends, as you can see, that there is a map that I have, added, and in this particular map, what you can understand is that the whole of the India. Okay, here what you can see that this particular whole of the India, here you can be a here you can find a soil map. I just want you to just look at this map and just try and understand that what is being shown in this particular map. Just here I have written the particular here there is the which are the types of soil, and just look at the colors that are there generally in this particular map. Just have a look at that. Just have a look at that, try to analyze, because this shall act as a base for us. Okay, here what you can see is that the whole of the India, it is painted in various colors, and each of these colors, they are going to represent a different type of soil form. Okay, now my dear friends, when we talk about the soils, okay, they are very much relevant for your examination, because what the examination shall ask you in the context of soil is that, okay, which state which state has which type of soil. Apart from that, what are the crops that can be grown on that soil? What is the mineral composition of that soil? Okay, then apart from that, where such a soil is found in majority. Moreover, they can ask it to you, the examination can ask it to you, that what are the bases for the formation of the soil. Okay, so the basis of the formation of the soil, it can also be asked. So these are the various compositions, these are the various parameters on which the examination can ask you questions. So here, if we move forward into it, as we can look that the map of India, it is painted in various colors. This represents that India has various types of soils that we are going to see. Okay, now when we talk on the soils, what do we understand is that here this PDF has already been uploaded and you can find it there. Okay, so here when we talk, the first one is that we shall understand that what actually is the what actually is soil, and how generally is soil formed. Because whenever you see, okay, whenever you see and wherever you are going to see the soil, it is particularly the basis for the growth of any flora, the basis for the growth of any natural vegetation. So it becomes the basis. But the question is and also there is this idea that some soils, they are fertile in nature, that is going to lead to a lot of productivity. But some soils, they are not that fertile, and they are not, and nothing can be grown on them. Why is that so? Because everything is related with the formation of the soil, how the soil is being formed, where the soil is being formed, and there are certain basic parameters whenever we talk on the formation of soil. Okay, so the formation of soil, it is going to be known as the pedogenesis. Okay, so the formation of soil, it is going to be known as the pedogenesis. Now here when we talk on the formation of soil, what is a soil? A soil is a it is a disintegrated portion of a rock composed of various minerals. Okay, composed of various minerals that has the capability of growing flora on them. It has various types of biological and non-biological aspects, because of which the flora is going to grow on them. So that is the basics. Okay, so soil, here it is going to be on the topmost layer of the earth's crust, and here it is composed of weathered rock particles, minerals, organic matter, air, water, and it is the thing that is going to support the plant growth. This is the basic element. So the soil, always remember one thing, there are certain basic parameters on which the soil is going to get formed. Okay, now the basic parameters, when we talk on them, there are 5 basic parameters on the basis of which the soil can be formed. The first of the parameters, it is going to be the parent material. Now see, how is a soil created? The soil isn't created within a year or within 2 years. No, it takes thousands of years for a soil to get created. For example, initially the whole of the earth, it was what means majority part of the earth, it was a terrestrial planet wherein rocks were there in majority. And when these rocks were there in majority, there was weathering activities that happened generally. And these weathering activities, what happened is that these weathering activities, they are going to erode the rocks. And in this erosion, the rocks, they are going to be disintegrated into small finer particles. And this process is going to go on. Even that finer particles, they are more going to be weathered, and much more finer particles are going to come. So like that, when finer particles weathered, and then the final result is going to become the soil. So is it happening in a fast manner? No, it is happening in a very long duration. So time is not limited in the formation of soil. We cannot say that the soil can be created in this much of time. No, the soil creation, it requires a lot of time. Apart from that, when we talk of the parent material, let's assume that the rock the rock that was there from which the disintegrated particles got weathered, and it led to the creation of soil. The composition of the parent material, that is the composition of the rock, the minerals that were in the rock, obviously that is going to be there in the soil also, because that soil was created with the disintegration of that rock, right? Because of the weathering of that rock. It is similar to the child and the parent. Many of the traits are transferred from the parent to the child. Similarly, the parent here is the rock, which is going to transfer the traits to the child, that is the soil. That is one major aspect. So if the rock was red in color, the soil will be red in color. If the rock is going to be brownish in color, the soil is going to be brownish in color. If the rock had a lot of ferrous or any particular mineral component, that soil is going to have that component in a much more bigger fashion, in a much more quantitative manner. Apart from that, where the rock is being eroded or weathered, where the rock is being weathered. For example, if the rock is being weathered on a slope, okay, so the soil that will be created, it is going to be very much thin. For example, let me just tell you here, let me just create this diagram. Okay, so one is that this is a slope. Let's say that here there is the rock. Here the rock, it will be weathered, and the small particles, they are going to be here. But the small particles with the time, because near the surface there is the gravitation. Okay, there is the gravitation. The disintegrated deposits that are put here and that take the form of soil, okay, they are going to be pushed down. And when they are going to be pushed down, there is a very thin layer of soil that is going to be created on the slopy areas, and much more thin layer it is going to be created on the steep slopes. Okay, but when that slope is going to be flat, okay, if this is the surface and if this is the plain area, whatever rocks, it will be disintegrated, and the soils that will be created here, the deposition, it will happen layer on layer. So initially there will, because this soil, it will not go anywhere much in a that bigger way, but it is going to be there itself. So deposition will happen in that particular same area, and there will be layers and layers of and layers created. So that is why the soil that is created on the plain areas, they are much more thicker in size. For example, you take the soil of the Gangetic Plains, they are around 1000 meters deep in the Gangetic Plains, okay, the alluvial soils. But the soils that you take on the mountain, on the mountainous soils, they are not that deep, because they are not in that same location, and they are just falling down. So that is one another understanding, that the topography, that the relief and the topography where the soil, it will be weathered, or where the soil or where the parent material is being weathered, that is also very much important. If the parent material is on a plain area, the soil that will be created, it is going to be thick in size, whereas it is going to be thin in size. Then it is also going to affect the drainage, erosion, and depth of the soil. Means on the basis of this particular the parent material and on the basis of the topography on which the soil was created, these things are going to be impacted. The next one is climate. If the if the area, it has high precipitation and there is high temperature variation, that is cold and hot, so accordingly the particular area, accordingly the particular soil, it is going to be weathered in a fast manner. If the climate is normal, the soil it will be created normally in a very long duration. But if there is precipitation is much more, the coldness and hotness is much more, so this varying degree of precipitation and temperature is going to impact the rate of soil formation, rate at which the soil is going to be created. So a normal precipitation and temperature would lead to normal creation of the soil in the rate, in the time period, but an extreme precipitation and temperature, it would lead to fast or slow creation of soil. Okay, then natural vegetation and biological factors. For example, if there are two areas, in one area there is no in one area there is no biological factors. For example, if there are small granular disintegrated particles of the rocks, okay, that have the features of a soil, and there is nothing on that soil. In the similar manner, the same type of soil is there in another area, but in that another area there are microorganisms, there are the small animals, microorganisms, leeches and all those things. So what these microorganisms, earthworms, and what all they do, they are going to much more erode the soil from within, and that soil is going to be converted into a more finer soil in the fast time, in the lesser time period than this soil. Why? Because this soil, it is totally dependent on the climate and precipitation, and there are no natural factors, no biological factors are there. So leeches, microorganisms, they are going to enhance the rate at which the soil is going to become much more faster in nature, much more fertile in nature, much more finer in nature, sorry. And then finally time, I have already explained that to you. Now when we talk on the classification of the soils in India, okay, so there is the Indian Council for Agricultural Research. They are going to tell that in the India there are 8 types of soil. The first one is the alluvial soil. They are found in the Indo-Gangetic plains and the coastal deltas. And which are the crops that are grown here? It is rice, wheat, sugarcane, and juice. Then there is the black rigor soil. The black soil, it is also known as the rigor soil. Okay, and this soil, it is there majorly in the Deccan Plateau. Now the black soil, it was created because of the basaltic lava flow. Basaltic lava flow means basically what happened is that when the Deccan area it was being created, that Deccan area, it was created by the lava. Means lava had erupted in the Deccan area, that is Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. In these areas the lava was there. Finally the lava cooled down, and that lava was black in color, and in that area only a lot of erosion happened, weathering happened, because of which the resultant soil that was created, it was black in color, and it had the features of the original parent, that was the lava rocks, that is the igneous rocks. Okay, and then later on that became the features of this particular soil. Okay, so that is why it is known as black soil, also known as rigor soil. And the most important crops that are grown here, they are going to be known as the cotton, soybean, and millets. That is one another aspect. Okay, now the next particular soil, it is going to be the red soil. Now where is the red soil found? It is going to be found in the southern and the eastern areas of India. Okay, so and which are the important crops that are going to be cultivated on the soil? It is going to be rice, millets, and pulses. Now just look at it. Okay, look at the location. Now just to understand one thing, wherever majorly red soils are found, there is the iron content is there. Okay, iron content is there. Now these red soils, okay, these red soils, when they are coming in contact with water, when they are in a hydrated form, these red soils, they convert into yellow soils. Okay, when the red soil, it is in hydrated form, it is going to convert into yellow soil. That is another aspect. The next one is going to be laterite soil. Laterite soil, it is found where? In the Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, and Northeastern states. And this particular laterite soil, it is coming from the Latin word later, which means brick. And you might have seen the brick formation, means the bricks are being created in the chimneys. So that bricks are generally created with the laterite soil. Okay, so this particular laterite soil, it is found where there is high temperature and high precipitation is going to be there. Okay, and the laterite soil, it is generally not cultivable, but when you apply the appropriate fertilizers to it, then it becomes cultivable. Okay, then you can cultivate things on that, and majorly plantation crops are generally cultivated on that, such as cashew, tea, coffee, and rubber. These are what? These are plantation crops. Then there is mountain and forest soil. One, mountain soil, when we talk, so on the mountain soil, it is not always the forest soil. There are some mountains that are bare in nature, that do not have any vegetation on them, they are just rocky structures. So the soils that are there on these rocky mountains which do not have any vegetations, they are majorly known as mountain soils. But the mountains that have forest on them, for example the Northeast Himalayas, then the Vindhyas, Satpuras, and then the Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, these particular mountains, they are not rocky in structure, but they have vegetation on them, they have forest on them. That is why we call those soils as forest soils. Okay, then there is the arid or the desert soil, the ones that are found in the arid areas. Okay, now here generally nothing is cultivable. Okay, so you just eliminate this particular you eliminate this. Okay, you eliminate this, you just cut this up. Okay, you just cut this up. Then saline and alkaline soils. Okay, you can here saline and alkaline soils, they are found in these states, and you can generally cultivate things with treatment. This is there. Peaty and marshy soils, basically they are found in the areas. Where are the peaty and marshy soils found? When there is the land and water transition area is there, no, this particular part where there is land and water is going to be mixed. Okay, so that there is the foundation of peaty and marshy soils. So that is why where you can find it in the Sundarbans, Kerala, Bihar, and Tamil Nadu, wherever there is the meeting of the land and the particular sea. Apart from that, it is also found on the foothills of the Himalayas. Okay, foothills of the Himalayas, and people generally grow crops here as well. That is rice, jute, and spices. Okay, spices and rice, they are cultivated in South India. Jute is cultivated in the West Bengal area. Now, according to the US soil taxonomy, Indian soils has these following type of, the Indian soils, they have these following types of particular scientific properties. Okay, so you can go through this. Okay, I'm just giving you 3-4 minutes. Just go through this whole content till the alluvial soils, means till this particular page number, that is page number 4, and then we are going to do the other aspects of this particular soils. Okay, and then we will move to the other aspect. Okay, so I hope you have gone through this content. Okay, so this is there. Now, the next one is going to be the particular each of the individual soil types that we shall be discussing. Okay, now here when we talk about the first soil, that is going to be the alluvial soil. Now, how has the alluvial soil been created and where are they generally found? So, the alluvial soil, it is created when there is going to be the deposition, okay, the deposition of certain eroded materials by the rivers. Okay, so wherever there are going to be the rivers in the northern part of India, okay, these rivers, these Himalayan rivers, they are generally eroding the elements in the upper part of their river, and then they are depositing those sediments, the finer sediments, in the lower stream, okay, in the lower areas, and that is when these deposited materials, they become the alluvial soils. Okay, so in India, majorly the Gangetic plains, okay, the Gangetic plains, that is the plains of Ganga, the Brahmaputra plains, that is the plains of Brahmaputra, and the Indus plains, they are going to have majorly the alluvial soils. So this is there. Now in India, apart from this area, there is going to be the coastal areas also where there is going to be the soil, this alluvial soil. In the coastal areas also that we talk, where there is the Western Ghats, there is going to be this particular type of soil that will be there. Apart from that, this soil, it is going to have around 46% of the coverage area of the whole of the India soils, means it is the largest of the soils that is found in India. Apart from the 8 other soil types that we have found, that we have discussed, this soil is considered to be the largest. Now the texture, it is going to be sandy to clayey, and the most important is that, my dear friends, you need to look into here that which are the minerals that these soils are rich in. Okay, they are rich in potash, phosphorus acid, but they are low in nitrogen. So similar to this, now what I want you to do is, I am telling you right now itself, this point that I have added in the PDF, I need you to eliminate it. Okay, I need you to eliminate it. Why am I telling you to eliminate it? Okay, because this is not holistic. I am telling it to you right away. You need to eliminate the wherever I have written this soil is rich in this soil is low in this. The reason I'm telling you to eliminate this point is that because it is not covering widely, and I with purpose I did not add it. With purpose I did not add the wide coverage, because I want you to do that as a homework. Okay, that this soil is rich in this material: humus, organic matter, okay, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, and it is low in this content, because the examination will ask in that manner, and I want you to do a holistic coverage, and I did not do it because I wanted you to do it. So again I'm telling, cancel all these points, okay, these points and all the soils, and you do a fresh one. Okay, you do a fresh one. Do not go with this, I am yet telling you, do not go with these points in the soils that I have mentioned. Do not go with that point. You need to create a fresh one. Okay, you need to create a fresh one. Do not go with this. Let me just tell you, just understand that these points are not there, and I have given you a fresh homework. Okay, now the alluvial soils, they are highly porous in nature, and they are very much well drained. Means if a particular water is there on the soil above, it is going to be highly porous and it is going to go down. Okay, the water is going to go down, and here it is going to support 40% of India's population, because majority of the crops, they are grown in this particular soil. Now one another aspect, it is going to be that there are two types in the alluvial soils. Okay, the alluvial soils, they are created through the river deposits, as I've already told you. So the river deposits, the river, it has deposited a particular soil. Okay, now, and it will deposit a particular soil 10 months later, then it will deposit a particular soil 10 years later. Okay, so for example, if the soil that has been deposited today, okay, this will not be the first soil, right? Prior to this also there is going to be some soil that is going to be deposited. So that prior soil, it will be known as the bhangar. Okay, which will be known as the old alluvium, that is the old deposits made by the river. Whereas the soil deposit that has been made now, this will be known as the khadar, that is new alluvium. Similarly, the soil that has been deposited now, it will be considered old alluvium when we compare it to the soil that will be deposited 10 months after today. 10 months after today. And that 10 months after today, it will become old alluvium compared to the 10 years after 10 months of the soil that has been deposited. Okay, so the earlier one is old alluvium and the newer one is new alluvium, that is khadar. So khadar, it is the more fertile and it is deposited annually by the floods. Okay, bhangar, it contains lime nodules, that is kankars, and they are less fertile. Okay, so both of these soils, they have the aspect of kankars. Okay, that is lime nodules, lime, that is the lime aspect, the limestone aspect. Okay, so that is there, and both of them are going to have a kankar nodules, but the only thing is that the bhangar soils, they have more kankar nodules compared to the khadar. Next one is black soils. When we talk on the black soils, I have already given you a brief understanding as to how they were formed, and they are known as regur soils. One another thing is that the black soils, they are very much water retaining soils. Okay, means the black soils, they lose water very hardly. They cannot lose water very easily, so they are water retaining soils. So a particular crop that requires water for a longer duration, it can be cropped into that particular soil and it can grow easily. These particular soils, they are found in areas where there is drought like conditions. You just assume the Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh area, they do not have that much of rainfall. There is drought like conditions, but yet these soils survive because they have the water retaining capacity, and yet the crops are grown on them. Why? Because in spite of drought being there, they are drought resistant, because they do not lose the water easily from the soil. That is why the crops can be grown there. Moreover, when we talk on this particular black soil, the black soil, it is also known for its self plowing nature. Okay, self plowing nature. That means when the soil is wet, when the soil, it is going to be wet, okay, it is going to become sticky. But when this soil, it is going to be dry, it is going to shrink, and there is wide cracks that is developed on this particular soil. Okay, how when your skin becomes dry, how your skin shrinks and there are cracks are generated, similarly here also it will happen. So that concept of shrinking and developing wide cracks is known as self plowing. This particular is happening because means they were created by the basaltic rocks. I've told you they cover 16% of India's total area. These are the states. They are high moisture retention. I told you they have the self plowing capacity. Again, cancel this particular point and okay, cancel this particular point and write down a new fresh one, research the content and then write it up. Okay, then the next one is it develops deep cracks in dry season, improving aeration. This is what I've told you, and these are the crops that can be grown. The next one is going to be the red soil. Okay, so when we talk on the red soil, what is the where is the red soil generally found? So the red soil is going to be found in the areas. Okay, so the red soil, it is going to be found in the areas where there is the alkine granite rocks. Just a moment. Where there is alkine granite rocks. Okay, it covers 18.5% of India's total area, and where they are found, you need to map it up. Okay, because the examination shall ask you questions pertaining to this. What is the characteristic? Because it is reddish in color due to the iron oxide, I have told you, and you need to cancel this point. Cancel this point. After that, agricultural significance is that it is suitable for the rice and millets. Similar to this, I had also told you about the yellow soil, that whenever the red soil, it is in hydrated form, it is going to be known as the yellow soil. Okay, that is another aspect that is there. Okay, so red soil in a hydrated form, it is known as yellow soil. Now both the red and the yellow soils, okay, they are generally non-cultivable. They are non-fertile generally, but but in some cases, in some in some developments of the red and yellow soil, they are crops can be grown on them. So what you need to understand is that now there is a scientific understanding to this, but that much of depth is not required for your examinations. So you just need to know this much, that the red and yellow soils, many of them are not cultivable, but many of them are cultivable. So there is a perfect mix of cultivable soil and the non cultivable soil, because the big soils, in them the big soil, it is non fertile, and the smaller versions of red and yellow soil particles, they are fertile. And in the fertile soil there is cultivation, in the non fertile there is not cultivation. The next one is laterite soil. I have already explained this up to you. Just read it up. Just read it up and try to understand what I'm trying to tell you here. Okay, so I hope you have read it and you have understood it, that the laterite soil, where it is going to be found, where there is intense precipitation and intense climate. Okay, so because of the intense precipitation, that high rainfall is there. Because of that, what will happen is that whatever minerals are there in the soil, they are going to be leached away. They are going to be removed, and because in that leaching away, the good minerals are also removed. At that point of time, what happens is that this particular soil, it becomes uncultivable, and that is why the top layer of the soil, this is generally removed and it is sent to the chimneys where bricks are being made of the laterite soil. So the name laterite, it generally comes from the Latin word brick, and this soil is used for brick making. Okay, and where is it found? It is found in western, eastern Ghats and northeastern states. Why? Because there a huge quantity of rains are generally there. These are the states. Okay, so you need to cut this out. Okay, cut this statement and find that this particular soil, it is rich in which particular minerals, and it is less in which particular minerals. Then it hardens into a brick like structure when dry, and that is when it is going to become converted into brick. What is this agricultural significance? As I've generally told you, here you cannot generally grow any crop, but what happens is that with proper adequate adding of fertilizers, you can grow you can grow the plantation crops. So this is what how a laterite soil looks like. Just look at how the laterite soil is. So on this soil, can you grow anything? Obviously not, you cannot grow. Okay, so that is one thing. Then there is the mountain soil. Now when we look at mountain soil, just look at this. This is mountain soil. Okay, Here, as I've already told you, the mountain soil, what would be the depth of the soil? It would be very much less compared to the plain areas, that the alluvial, like the alluvial soil, it has a lot of depth because there is multiple deposition there. But here, if there is deposition, where will the soil go? It will go down. Okay, so this is a mountain soil. But compared to this, when this mountain, it will have forest on it, like the Himalayas, the northeastern states, and you have been to a lot of mountains that have forest on it, that have trees on it. Okay, so they will have a different type of soil because there the flora is being, means the flora has grown, right? Here it has not grown. So when we talk on the forest soil, they are found where? On the steep mountainous slopes under, means they there is a forest cover in the forest soils, there is a non-forest cover in the mountainous soil. Where are they found? Okay, you need to cancel this particular statement. It is you need to cancel both of these statements. Okay, and what do we generally produce here? Tea, coffee, spices, and horticulture crops. Take the northeastern area. The northeastern states, they also have a lot of such mountains, and on these mountains they are going to do a lot of plantation crops, like such as tea and coffee. But they are also going to cultivate spices and other horticulture crops here. Okay, on these particular mountains that have good amount of soil where certain crops can be cultivated. So that is the scenario here. Okay, then the next one is arid or desert soils. Okay, so just read this up, read this. When we talk about arid or desert soils, just by reading it you will understand. Whenever we talk about desert soil, what is this? It looks like this particular area. Okay, so can we grow anything here? No. Is there organic content prevalent here? No. Is there microorganisms prevalent here? No. Is it totally devoid of any flora? Is there no flora found in any part of the soil? Wrong. There will be some part of flora found here. The only difference is that the flora that is found here, it will have a different characteristics compared to the flora that is found in other areas. Okay, so that is one thing. Then when we talk on the areas where this particular type of soil is found, it is going to be found in the Thar area, in the Thar desert, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Haryana, and Punjab. They have a very low organic matter and cancel this particular statement. Okay, however, we cannot say that this area can never become, will never grow anything. It can grow something. For example, you might have read about the Indira Gandhi canal. Okay, the Indira Gandhi canal that is there in the Rajasthan area. Initially that area also had this type of soil only. But what happened? Because of the Indira Gandhi canal, okay, the water, it was let out, and with this water, the soil, it was it was converted into a crop growing soil. Initially this soil looked like this, but with the continuous supply of water, with the adding of fertilizers, that soil was converted into the crop growing soil. So that is another aspect that we can look. So there is agricultural potential. With the proper adequate water supply, there can be the growth of the various crops. Next one is saline and alkaline soil. From the name saline itself, what do we see? Understand is the soils where there is a lot of salt content is going to be the soil, is going to be saline, where the pH value is more than 7. Sorry, where the pH value is less than 7. But where the pH value is more than 7, that is known as alkaline soil. Now where is such a soil formed? Okay, such soils are formed where there is only deposition of water that has high content, high salt content, and there is no drainage of water from that area. When there is no drainage, when there is poor drainage of that area, then there is no replenishment of water or replenishment of resources, because of which the soil because of which the salt gets accumulated there itself. Okay, for example, in the run of Kutch in the Gujarat area, they are known for their salt pans. Okay, why salt pans? Because here generally the water, it is being evaporated and the salt content is being derived. Okay, the salt is being derived. So that is the another aspect that we need to understand, that wherever there is a poor drainage, there what do we see is there is going to be the accumulation of salts, and then it is not and then it is going to be known as the, what do we say, the saline soils. Okay, and the coverage is what? It is these areas What are the characteristics? It has high sodium, calcium, magnesium, and potassium content. Okay, it is poor in nitrogen and humus. Cancel this, find it. Okay, and then it is suitable for leguminous crops after soil treatment. Okay, generally here you cannot cultivate anything, but it is going to be suitable. Okay, it is going to be suitable after treatment for leguminous crops. Leguminous crops, they are basically those crops that provide nutrition to the soil. Okay, and crops that only extract nutrition from the soil, they are non-leguminous. But the crops that also provide nutrition in return to the soil, they are known as leguminous. Okay, for example, the pulses, they are the leguminous crops. So whenever you might have seen, if you might have seen some farmers, you might have seen that the farmers, they grow rice and wheat. After that, they are going to grow pulses. Why? Because the pulses, they are also going to give the particular, nutrition to the soils. Okay, so that is another aspect. Then there is going to be the peaty and the marshy soils. Where there is waterlogged areas, it is going to be there. Okay, so this is how the peaty and the marshy soils are going to be there. Here there is the waterlogged area. Okay, now just take 5 minutes, and read the whole content, because now we have revised the whole content. Read the whole content. We shall take the particular, the natural vegetation in the forest. Okay, otherwise it will become duplicity. So we will take natural vegetation in the forest section. Okay, in this, we are just focusing on soils and its association with agriculture. So even in the agriculture, I have added some things. Okay, the in the agriculture. Okay, that these are some of the methods in which agriculture is done when we associate it with soils. Okay, so we'll look into it. Just just read the whole content right now. Read the whole content, my dear friends. I'm giving you 5 minutes for it. Just read it. Okay, so I hope you have read this up. Okay, so after this, my dear friends, well, the what is the idea here is that then there is going to be the soil conservation and the government policies. Okay, means now see, there had been a lot of issues whenever we talk on the soil. Okay, that means that a lot of issues pertaining to the conservation, a lot of issues pertaining to the degradation of the soil. So because of that, the government is now focusing on the conservation of soil. Okay, so where what is the problem that we are having in which areas and what is the cause? Soil erosion, it is happening because of deforestation and overgrazing. Okay, soil erosion means what? Because the soil, the topmost layer of the surface of the earth that has a lot of nutrients in them, that has the capability of growing the flora, okay, that is being removed. Okay, that is because of deforestation and overgrazing. That means a lot of animals are being grazed on it. Because of them walking over the soil, the soils are getting destroyed. Desertification, it is because of wind erosion and over cultivation. The soils, they are losing the natural nutrients and there is desertification that is happening. Apart from that, we talk, there is salinity and alkalinity, where it is in the over irrigated areas where there is just accumulation of water is being put there, and the salt content of the soil is going in the salt content of that water is going in the soil, and there is going to be the poor drainage in that area, because of which salinity is going to be there. Apart from that, water logging is there. Okay, then which are the measures that we have taken that generally impacts positively to the particular the agriculture as well? So it is going to be afforestation and agroforestry has been done to reduce the erosion. Okay, afforestation means the increased replantation of the forest. Agroforestry means along with the cultivation of crops, you are also adding the forest, the big trees on your farmlands. Okay, so that is agroforestry, that is integrating basically the forest practices with the cropping practices, that is there. Then contour plowing and terracing for sloped farming regions, that means wherever there is a slope, if there is a slope, the soil, if it is eroded, it will just go straight down. But if see, there are two mechanisms. One is that there is a slope like this. Okay, so if there is erosion, the soil will go directly. But another area, there will be like this. Okay, so what will happen? The soil, it will not go directly, there will be some stopping, and there can also be agriculture that can be done here. So this is the aspect of contour terracing. Integrated nutrient management, that means that natural supply of nutrients are being done in that particular area. Then there is zero tillage farming to minimize soil disturbance. This is going to be the mainstay as to how the soil is being recouped. Okay, so that is the idea. Now the next topic, natural vegetation, we shall take it up in the forest segment itself. Okay, we'll not take it up here in this session, but we'll take it up in the forest segment. Okay, so with this, I'll thank every one of you for watching me in this session, for watching Olive Board. And here we discuss the soils and how it is important for the examinations. Okay, so once again, thank you everybody. Take good care of yourselves, study well, and Jai Hind.